this communism is social ownership.
Welcome to the Adam and Sheridan Show video podcast number 9.
I don't know why that move reminded me of Mr. Rogers for some reason.
When I did this?
The whole crossing the legs. And, Yeah, I'm Sheridan.
I'm Adam Courtwright, and we just got done recording our show. It was jam-packed. We had a lot of things on NSA, some things on the middle class in the U.S. being a lot weaker and with less money than the middle class in many other countries.
And we had an article that was on alienation, but without trying to be on alienation. Apparently people are dissatisfied at work, feeling alienated at work.
Go figure.
And some people, 1 in 5, are actively trying to disengage or sabotage their work. And
I say, good on ya.
It was hilarious. It was an awesome article.
How can we encourage these scofflaws? That's what I say.
It was alternate.org. Check that out. We also had an article on participatory budgeting. In Chicago, they are taking votes.
Start your clock.
Yeah, I should start my clock.
There we go.
So we know when we've talked long enough.
Yeah.
But they're taking votes in Ward 43, I believe, on what $1.3 million that they have to spend on different projects to uplift the community. They're voting on what it should be spent on. Great article in these times. Check it out. We talk about it at length on the show, and I urge you to listen to it because some of these articles are I really feel are impactful and I'm really kind of passionate about. Most of the time, don't give a crap about the show.
And I don't give a crap about anything he just said. No. So if you want to listen to that show, it's going to be up on our podcast page, wrfalp.wordpress.com. However, on this particular podcast, we're gonna go controversial on you. Now, we didn't mention this on the show because it's FCC, and frankly, fewer people watch this than listen to the show. And I don't want to be.
Really?
I don't want to be. Yeah.
Wow.
At least I hope so.
I feel sad
because those numbers on our YouTube page showing how many people watch these things.
Why aren't you getting your family around? Make popcorn, sit around the couch, and watch Radical Socialists. I mean, just do it. That's how they used to celebrate in olden times.
Back in the old days. So I want to talk about the civil confinement law. It's started in New York State under Eliot Spitzer, and it's being used right now to hold New Sean Williams. And I just learned about this a couple of days ago. And
the New Sean Williams thing touches a lot of people in Jamestown. I don't know if you're watching this from Jamestown, New York or not, but he had kind of gone through the community and possibly spread HIV/AIDS. There was a test that had contested that, but there's a good chance that it was indeed the case.
The validity of that test is being questioned by the state.
Yeah.
However, he served his time. He was sentenced to jail a period of time for statutory rape, and he served his sentence.
Yep.
And what I don't know where I've been living for the past 3 years, but since 2010, his sentence has been done, and he's been held by the state, by New York State, and now the civil confinement law.
And the civil confinement law was set up so that if someone seems to be a possible danger to the community or themselves, they can be confined for an indeterminate amount of time after. Yeah, after.
Meaning it could be a life sentence, theoretically.
Now there are a couple of problems with this. One, that's imprisonment. That's just not a good thing to say.
It makes people
worse. We can keep you forever. That's Guantanamo Bay. That's what a lot of people are trying to do. But also, if someone is capable of doing a bad thing and they have served their time, then again we have, and we've talked about this on the radio show in years past. We have a punitive justice system, not a restorative justice system.
Not a rehabilitative.
The difference is you do something bad, you go into jail, this harsh environment where you get trained again to continue the same behaviors because you're around the same types of people, and then they say, don't do it again. Don't you do it.
Even though you're able to do it now better than you were before because you've been hardened by all these criminals.
And that's where a lot of the gangs, especially the nationwide gangs, started, in prisons in California. So, you know, this is kind of counterproductive, and a restorative justice system would be like, okay, what caused you to do this, or what skills do you not have so that you can avoid doing these things which are harmful to you in society. Okay, how can we provide that for you then? And a lot of people have become jaded or just angry and say, listen, that's coddling criminals, but people aren't born criminals. People aren't just criminals. People are people who have committed crimes, and you cannot forget that. These are people that happen to have committed crimes.
Now, we understand that, sexual crimes in particular are just heinous. People's lives are ruined because of this.
Absolutely.
However, this is the United States. We have certain rights here. If you get convicted of a crime by a trial of your peers, you serve your time, you have an opportunity after you serve your time to leave and try to reintegrate yourself into the society again. You can't have served your time and then be tried again because the jury thinks that you might commit a crime in the future. That, to me, is almost the equivalent of double jeopardy. It's like being tried for the same crime twice. So, in my opinion, the civil confinement law should be completely off the books. At most, if Newshawn Williams, through a series of psychological tests, was determined to be an imminent threat to society, then he should be transferred to a mental institution.
Yes.
And then the mental institution, a private institution, should determine at what point he should be leaving. Not a jury, not a judge, not New York State.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because a lot of the jails, well, one, the jail system is just in a horrible mess anyway because they're for-profit jails. That's a weird thing, being paid to incarcerate human beings.
Well, I mean,
because they're dangerous. But
everything's for profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Healthcare is for profit. Why not that?
But the jails that tend to have, restorative justice type measures, they have classes, they have workshops for people so that they can learn how to reintegrate into society, are two types. It's either death row or extremely minimum security where people have committed white-collar crimes. Not everyone has committed a white-collar crime, but it's usually those two. So white-collar criminals and people who haven't committed grave offenses and people who are never going to be let out because they're waiting to be put to death. So those are the two people. So you have Mumia Abu Jamal, who became basically an attorney, and he's a death row attorney. He advises other inmates. You have instances like that where this person doesn't really have a possible chance of ever reintegrating into society, having only taken it upon themselves and used some of the resources given to them in that hopeless situation to become a releasable person.
Right.
It's not the people who have a chance of getting out. It's not the people who are in medium security prisons or the people who have committed crimes but are not, or who committed more violent crimes but are not on death row, who are getting this service. So when they're let out, all they have is connections.
Right.
This is. I
was reading under the civil confinement law, there was one person who had been sentenced to a life sentence for a sexual crime, and he ended up getting out on parole or bail or whatever at age 100.
Wow.
And even at 100 years old, he was held under the civil confinement law. At 100 years old. And I don't expect to be able to get an erection when I'm 100. That's just, I'm planning that in my future.
I'm staying positive.
If you can get her done, give me a phone call. If phones still exist. But
why is this the theme of our shows today?
Yeah, we
listen to our radio show and you will hear
body humor. No. Okay, so I'm against the civil confinement law. I'm not in favor of sexual predators. I don't want that to be construed at all.
And we don't want
you can't hold people indefinitely because it's a virtual life sentence, and that's just not how we operate in the United States.
And because there's nothing supporting their ability to become reintegratable, if I can create a word there. So basically they're saying you're a danger to society, but we're not going to do anything to not make you a danger to society, so here you sit.
Yeah. All right, this has been the Adam and Sheridan Show podcast. If you want to see more of our podcasts, you can subscribe to us, Adam and Sheridan. And also we are available on Facebook. We are available on WRFALP.com and also
on Twitter. At Adam and Sheridan.
Yep, and also adamandsheridanshow@gmail.com. Did I mention that?
Email us. We like to have a conversation.
Yeah.
We had a conversation with someone who comments frequently on our Facebook posts, Rob Olson, and he corrected us on something we had mentioned on the radio show regarding the NSA spying.
And also, happy birthday to Edward Snowden. He's 30 years old, and also I'm 30 years old as of June 17th. So a tear in my eye that I'm that close to
death.
Edward. Yeah, I'm one day closer to death. All right, say your line. Let's get the hell out of here.
Stay active.
Don't stare directly at the light.
What?
I see his big white spots now.
I know, seriously. That's the same thing I did. Okay, I'm liking this a little better.
I want to mention,
I feel like a white sheet would reproduce your skin tone.
It would. Beautifully. I love a nice white, unhealthy look.
Every time I'm color correcting this, I feel like I'm color correcting Dracula and Renfield. Except I'm Renfield, and that makes me super sad.
I didn't know that you were color correcting it. I thought it looked that beautiful. Well, so
you don't.
No, I look twice as good.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to cast you as Nosferatu.
So you actually make me look uglier to make you look better.